I'm Rosalie Bantabadai, the president of the Alachua County Gainesville League of Women Voters. As most of you know, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization whose mission is to promote voter education, the use and extension of the right to vote for all citizens, and to work to ensure a free, open, and fair election process. The League never endorses any candidate or political party. The League does, however, support issues that are critical to fair elections, the preservation of our natural resources, the extension of the franchise, and equal rights for all. I direct your attention to the League table, where information and clear explanations of the constitutional amendments and some explanations on our charter amendments. Thank you very much to Crystal Goodison for writing those. We also have them on your chairs, so please take as many as you like and distribute them so that the citizens have that education. This forum is also being recorded by TDC Entertainment and will be available for citizens to hear on our website, www.lwv-alachua.org. That's lwv-alachua.org. We also hope that it will be broadcast by WFT Radio later this month. The funding for the forum is made possible by a grant from the Florida State League of Women Voters Education Fund. Tax-deductible contributions to the League Education Fund has enabled us to secure this wider audience for the forum through the audio recording and then on our website. So thank you for all of your contributions. And another heartfelt thank you to the Alachua County Library District, and in particular, the personnel at the Mill Hopper branch. It is always a pleasure to partner with them, and they work with us to serve the public. The moderator for each panel will explain the rules of the forum that were sent to each participant. These are the standard rules used by our league for all forums. We will take some written questions from the audience, and in addition to the ones prepared by the league, and these will be asked as time allows. Sue over here has some cards. You can always just raise your hand, and she will go ahead and give you a card and a pen. The decision to use any of these questions does rest with the time that we have left, as well as the league people. Also, since this is being recorded, we ask you to put your phones on vibrate at this point in time so that it doesn't kind of ding or give off the Gator Fight song or something like that in the middle of the recording of the forum. There is no other questions. Thank you both for coming today. And I'm going to turn it over to Judge Harvey Goldstein, who will begin the State House District 22 race panel. The candidates for State House District 10 were unable to attend this afternoon due to campaign conflicts. Thank you very much, and we hope that you benefit and enjoy the forum.
Good afternoon. I'm Harvey Goldstein, and as Rosalie said, I will be the moderator for the Florida House of Representatives District 22 race, which is Marion County and Alachua County, I believe. And the format for the presentations be as follows, and I'm going to shorten it because I've already spoken to the candidates personally. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and then I will read questions which were prepared for the league, and each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question, and I'll rotate the order of whom I ask the question. If time permits, we will have written questions from you, the audience. At approximately at the end, we will move to closing statement, and each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to make a closing statement, or I like to say a closing argument to persuade you. We have timers in the front row who will indicate your remaining time, so please keep your eye on them. They're very attractive ladies, and when your time is up, they will ring the bell. I'm going to get in trouble for that. We will begin with the 2-minute opening statement, and we'll start off with Mr. Paul.
Thank you, the League, for inviting me. I think this is great. My name is John Paul, and I'm running in House District 22. I hold a bachelor's degree in history, and I'm working on my master's in public administration. And I want to talk about where I went to college. I went to a college called Hood College in Frederick, Maryland, and it was an all-female school until 2002. And when I decided to make my trip into the educational world, I looked at colleges and I wanted a challenge. Hood offered me that challenge because as a white male, I was a minority. And if there's one thing I learned going to an all-female school, it's that when women talk, you listen. So I'm honored here today, and I want to talk a little bit about my plans to be your next state representative. I'm a father of 3. I started out very young. I worked as a carpenter all through college. When I left college, I became a high school teacher. I taught government and economics. And currently I work for an attorney. I am the Chief Operations Administrator for a law office of Richard A. Perry. District 22 is a seat that's why we should have Amendments 5 and 6 passed. It runs from southwest Marion into northwest Alachua County. So it's a very oddly drawn district. However, as your state representative, there's 3 things I want to focus on, and that's job creation, our education system, and our environment. And the first and third thing kind of go hand in hand. To bring jobs, we need clean, renewable energies that we can stimulate Florida's growth. We can do so much more with what we have. We can save 20% of our energy consumption and reinvest that back into a developing grid. And our education, we can do so much more for our children. We need to get rid of problems like the FCAT. We need to stop legislation like Senate Bill 6. So if you believe in me and you believe that we can change the state of Florida, vote for me. I'm John Paul, House 22.
Mr. Perry.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for wanting to be informed. My name's Keith Perry. Grew up in Gainesville. My father was a professor at the University of Florida where he was chairman of clinical psychology. I was one of 4 kids, the one that did not go to college. I was going to take a year off. After I graduated Buell's High School, I started a roofing business, Perry Roofing, and 34 years later, never made it back to college, but to spent that time building up Perry Roofing. We've done the roof on this library, the Tower Road Library. We did the library downtown. We've done a lot of buildings on campus. Currently we have 3 offices in the state of Florida. We're based out of Gainesville. We have an office in Orlando and Jacksonville. In the last 2.5 years, I've closed down an office in Fort Myers. I've closed our Pensacola office down. I've gone from 225 employees down to, last count, about 90. Very difficult times for us and our company, very difficult times for me individually, having to take people that you know their families, spend a lot of time with them and lay them off. In times in the construction industry when there's not any jobs out there has been a very trying time for me the past 2.5 years. One of the reasons that I decided to get in this race was the issues that I saw facing a lot of people that I knew in the job market and job creation. Another little passion of mine, growing up in Gainesville, single, a little bit of money in my pocket. I got in trouble. I partied a lot in this town. Got in trouble, even spent a night in jail, in Alachua County Jail. That was a life-changing experience for me. Since then, I've been involved with the House of Hope. I was the founding president of that. I don't know if you're aware of that ministry, but we take men, and we're hopefully going to have women pretty soon that we take them getting out of prison in 6-month rehabilitation program. Totally voluntary, and we're funded totally by individuals, businesses, and churches.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Now we'll move on to the first question, which involves Florida sales tax exemption. And we'll start off with Mr. Perry. Do you support a regular review of Florida sales tax exemptions in order to sunset those which have served their purpose and are not for charitable purposes? Why or why not?
Well, we need to look at the sales tax and the exemption versus a loophole. I'm not in favor of any kind of loopholes for sales taxes, but exemptions, for example, in my business, we don't charge sales tax when we put a roof on your house. Back, I don't know how many years ago that was, when Governor Martinez, they passed a sales tax that covered all services. And what we did is we would charge you then tax on your home. I didn't really like the propaganda that was out there I thought was very misleading, which talked about the construction industry. And I'll use it as an example since it's what I was involved with. It talked about the construction industry didn't pay $600 or $700 million in taxes. Well, the construction industry didn't pay it because we didn't charge it. Once we started charging that, there was a big revolt because I started charging people, $8,000, $9,000 for a roof, and then we charged that sales tax on top. And I tell you what, there was a big revolt, and that was repealed, if you remember. What I would be more in favor for is looking at if there's an offset in property taxes and we want to increase sales tax, we could do that. The problem you have when you increase sales tax across the board in different areas is now you just come up with a larger bureaucratic governing board that has to regulate all of those new companies now that have to charge sales tax. And believe me, you're paying for it. It's a pass on. Every business, every person that charges sales tax, you're going to pay that. And so you need to be aware of that. And I think what I would rather do is actually minimize the potential for sales tax and then increase the enforcement code. Some of us have been in places, we've been in certain restaurants or something, have you seen them ring it up and it's a 0 on there? And they take our money anyway? Well, they're just fraudulent and they're taking our tax money. It's very difficult for the state to enforce those kinds of laws as you have more and more companies that charge sales tax. So I would be in favor, certainly looking at loopholes, and then I'd also look at maybe streamlining and even raising that, but narrowing the scope.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Mr. Paul.
Okay, I'm glad you asked this question. One of my strong supporters, former Governor Buddy McKay, has worked with me closely on this issue. And he'll tell you that behind closed doors, both parties will agree that there needs to be tax reform in the state of Florida. Our tax system is run off of something that was developed out of the 1960s, and the exemptions are so broad that if we limited those exemptions, we could actually lower the tax rate and still make money. So we have to look at equity of the taxes. If there's any kind of new tax in the state of Florida, number one, it should not be in housing, it should not be in sales, it should be focused at tourism and where they come into the state, so we're not penalizing the people of Florida. You know, we can do a lot right now by preventing backroom deals, opening the bidding process to online, making our government transparent in our transactions. Too often does our state legislature bundle goods and put them into you know, funds or appropriations. Well, this is an operations fund, but there's no line item for spending. We need to open that up, make that more transparent, and we definitely need to rework the tax system in the state of Florida. As we head into this global market, our breadth becomes longer and our reach becomes far. We need to rein in those tax dollars where we can. We need to make the system profitable, equitable, and we need to ensure that there's a proper agency and policies in effect that make these things transparent and more lucrative. We can't head down the same road we've been going down. It's time that we rework, we line item our budget, we go through things that we do not need, and we don't make the citizens of Florida pay when they're already paying enough.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.